Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about feminization of agriculture in India. First of all, let us look into the current affair. Why feminization of agriculture has become an important topic. Feminization of agriculture is picking up pace in India and all over the world. But there are associated challenges with it. So, if there are properly addressed policy measures in this regard, feminization of agriculture can become very popular. So that is why it is important, and we will see what is feminization of agriculture, what are the recent developments in this, what is the status of India, what are the challenges and how to overcome these challenges. Let us start. First of all, let us see what are the recent developments in this feminization of agriculture or in this regard. Firstly, the International Day of Rural Women has been observed by the United Nations. So, United Nations observe International Day of Rural Women on every October 15th. The same day, that is October 15th, is observed as National Women's Farmers Day or Rashtriya Mahila Kisan Divas in India. So, in India, the same day is, and it is the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare takes lead in celebrating the event. That is on October 15th, it is considered as National Women Farmers Day and Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare takes the lead in celebrations. So, celebrating or observing a particular day for rural women or women farmers, it shows how significant or how important is women farmers or feminization of agriculture. In 2018, the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare proposed to discuss the challenges faced by women farmers in crop cultivation, animal husbandry, dairying and fishing. So, 2018 October 15th, Rashtriya Mahila Kisan Divas was aimed towards working on an action plan which will better feminization of agriculture. So, which will provide better access to credit, skill development of women farmers, entrepreneurial opportunities for women farmers, etc. So, all these were discussed on October 15th, 2018 on the event of celebrating Rashtriya Mahila Kisan Divas. Now, let us look into the status of women representation in agriculture in India. First of all, the report by Oxfam India. According to Oxfam India, women are responsible for about 60 to 80% of food production in India and around 90% of dairy production. So, it means a major role in food production or dairy production is held by women, especially the dairy production. 90% is held by women. And according to the agricultural census of 2010-11, out of estimated 118.7 million cultivators, around 30% were female cultivators. And according to the same census, out of a total 146 million operational holders, 13% were women. Now, even though there is so much of representation from women, what is the problem? There is only a minor representation of women farmers in the society. That means they are less visible in farmers' organizations or protests. So we call them as invisible workers. Their work or contribution is not recognized in the society or in the family. So there is underrepresentation in the society and their work is less visible and therefore they are known as invisible workers. Now let us understand what are the challenges in feminization of agriculture and what is the way ahead. The first one is regarding the land ownership. According to the census 2015, only around 14% of the women have ownership rights on the land in which they cultivate. So, even though there is a larger contribution by women farmers, the ownership of land is very less. There is only 14% of the women cultivators who have ownership rights on the land in which they cultivate, and this is one major issue. So, the ownership of land itself is one factor that will provide recognition to women farmers. Now, when there is no ownership, they are cultivating on somebody else's land, or in most cases it is the family land or the husband's property. So, this provides lesser representation for women and they become more and more invisible workers. Now, the second one is regarding the availability of credit. So, three important factors that will influence the investment decision of any sector is: one, ownership of the property or the assets. In case of agriculture, it is the land ownership. Second one is the availability of formal credit. And the third one is the market access. So these three factors are very important, and out of which availability of credit is one very important and influencing factor of investment. Now coming to availability of agricultural credit. So in most of the cases, formal financial institutions use land as a collateral for providing agricultural credit. So land is used as collateral if farmers need to get credit from formal financial institutions like the banks. But what is the problem? We have seen here that only 14% of the women cultivators have ownership of their land in their own name. So there is lesser ownership of land for the women farmers, and they cannot use it as a collateral to avail formal credit from formal financial institutions. So this will restrict the scope of these women farmers in getting formal finance, and therefore it will affect the investment decision of the women farmers. So when the investment comes down, what will happen? The productivity also comes down. Or let us take it in the other way. If investment increases, what will happen? The productivity increases, and for the farmers, the income will increase when the output increases, and for the country, it benefits from increased food security. So investment in agriculture has an impact not only on the income of farmers but also on the food security of the country. So one factor that will influence the investment decision of a farmer is the availability of credit. And when the land ownership of this women cultivators is not in their own name, what will happen? This will restrict the scope of this women farmers to avail formal credit, which will influence the investment decision of the women farmer. Now, what can be done in this regard? The provision of credit can be made available through microfinance institutions or a microfinance initiative of the NABARD. So, NABARD is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, which aims at improving or enhancing agriculture and rural economy in India. So, NABARD can take an initiative in order to enhance the microfinance institutions to provide collateral-free loans to women farmers. So, this can be a solution to this. And if formal credit is provided to this women farmers, it will enhance investment and also the productivity. And the NABARD should also take some initiative in providing credit as well as technological advancement and skill enhancement to this women farmers. Merely credit is not enough. So farming has to be converted into mechanized. More technology should be adopted in farming and cultivation. So technological advancement should be provided, and also skill enhancement for the farmers should be provided. Now, third challenge is regarding the land holdings. The land holdings have doubled over the years. So when the land holdings increases, what will happen? The average size of the farms will come down. So when more number of people own land, the size per holding will come down. So what is the impact? As a result of increased land holding, a majority of the farmers will fall under the small and marginal category. Small and marginal farmers are those farmers who hold less than 2 hectares of land. So under this, women farmers are also included. And what is the problem of small and marginal holders? There will be lower net returns because the economies of scale cannot be properly utilized. So there will be lower result, lower productivity, lower net returns. And what is the solution for this? Collective farming should be encouraged. So under collective farming, women will become more self-reliant. The next challenge is regarding the training or skill of these women farmers. These days we will see that various trainings on skill development are imparted by some of the SHGs or cooperative societies to the farmers, especially women farmers. So what can be further done? Farmer producer organizations or the FPOs can further help in this regard, and the role of government should also be improved. The government under various flagship programs must include women-centric strategies and dedicated expenditure for improving the skill of women farmers. For example, National Food Security Mission, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, So all these are the flagship programs of the government. So skill impartment should also be included under this flagship programs of the government. And the Krishi Vigyan Kendras also has some role in this. Krishi Vigyan Kendras in every district can educate and train women because it provides grassroots approach. So Krishi Vigyan Kendras are in every district and they can educate and train the women farmers about innovative technology. So if the central government is coming up to train the farmers, that is quite impossible because the government cannot train all the farmers in the entire country. But at the grassroots level, when we have certain institutions who can work directly with the farmers, so this will be helpful. The next challenge is with regard to the pay for the women workers. If you consider women farmers, there is increased work burden for these women farmers. Why? Because they are doing the household work and also the work in the farm or field. So there is an increased work burden. But when you consider the compensation level, they are paid lesser than the men counterparts. So this is a key factor responsible for marginalization. So this payment differentials needs to be corrected. When a person is getting more income, he will feel more secure. So lesser can be the marginalization when the payment differentials can be corrected. Now the next challenge is with regard to machinery. If you consider the female cultivators or laborers, they are mostly engaged in labor intensive tasks in agriculture. First of all, one major problem with Indian agriculture is that of lesser use of technology. There is lesser mechanization in agriculture in India. But even if we consider the level of mechanization, these machineries are mostly used by men. What is the reason? Because these machineries are not women friendly or gender friendly. So it is difficult for the women to operate this machinery. So mostly the female cultivators will get engaged in labor intensive tasks in agriculture. Therefore, it is important to have gender-friendly tools and machinery for various farm operations which can be easily used by the women as well. So, what is the solution? What can be done in order to improve gender-friendly tools and machinery in agriculture? Incentives must be provided to the manufacturers in order to develop gender-friendly machinery. Now, the banks must also provide subsidy to women cultivators in order to promote or motivate them to use this machinery. So subsidies to the farmers as well as incentives to the manufacturers will help in this regard. Next limitation is the resources or availability of resources. Compared to men, women have lesser access to resources and modern inputs. For example, availability of credit. It is a resource for agriculture. So we have seen collateral is required by formal financial institutions and ownership is mostly in the name of the male member of the family. So what happens? There is limitation for the access or availability of credit to the women farmers. So likewise, the resource availability and input availability to the women farmers are lesser compared to men. Also the decision making power goes to the men. So there is limited scope for women farmers to make a decision on the farming activities. And also market access. Men have more market access than the women. What is the solution for all this? The access to the resources and the inputs should be equalized, and this requires appropriate policy action. Government should come up with policies that will equalize the access for men and women to the resources or to the inputs. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page. Thank you.